How you doing, guys? Welcome to the Hidden Contributor, where I'm going to show you guys how to start your own stock photography business, YouTube, anything that you can sell, and also stuff that you can do in the business when it comes to selling things, and also starting profiles with contributor stock profiles too as well. So we're going to be jumping into Adobe Stock. You can definitely go to the playlist for the Adobe Stock business, and it'll teach you everything I'm going to be doing just for Adobe Stock. So the first thing a lot of people that don't explain to you about Adobe Stock after you make your profile is that you want to understand that sometimes you go into Adobe Stock and you don't know what to create or what the niche is or anything. Just to let you know about that, there really is no niche in Adobe Stock. It's just depending on what you want to focus on as far as creating for companies that will buy the stock photos that you create, and also photos that you take pictures of, or you can do it with an AI. So just to give you a couple of ideas, a lot of people that don't understand this is that we're on Adobe Stock, right? A lot of people that go to Adobe Stock don't know what to create. They feel as though like, oh, I have to make something random, but you really don't. Adobe Stock is kind of powerful of what you can create for yourself. So what I like to start off with is the theme of what I'm creating, as far as like using Midjourney, which I think is the best one to use is Midjourney. That's what I've been using. So we're going to be focusing on photos. We're going to be going to photos and illustration and vectors or whatever. So what we're going to be understanding with vectors is that we have to understand what vectors actually give us, or what photos actually give us, what videos, stuff like that, or whatever. Just an example. So what we're going to be doing here is that when you click on photos, don't just go to the search bar. A lot of people go to the search bar, type in random stuff. You do not have to do that. What I like to do here is I like to scroll down and I like to go to what's available. So what I like about this, it gives you a popular stock portfolio category. What I like about this is that Adobe gives you ideas on what to create and what is more effective on and creating in Adobe Stock, what the volume is. So let's say if we want to create, let's say, which is very popular on Adobe Stock, is landscapes. Now, landscapes are very cool because you actually get to see the results and the volume of it here. So as you see here, they give you a volume of what you can look for, and they give you ideas of photos that you create with this. So what I like about this, it actually breaks down the filter a little bit more, and you can go to these different type of filters to see what creates and what works, even down to images, videos, transparent, template, 3D. You can actually break it down into filters along with that. So the creative thing about this is that it gives you categories that you can actually focus on and look to as well. So what I love about this is that when you do go to illustration, vectors, or stuff like that, it gives you everything to explore here. So the cool thing about Discovery Fresh illustration, we go to view all. So when we go to view all, it gives you different ideas on what to create in here. So when you're utilizing what to create and what to focus on, I like to go to different categories within here and find what to create, like digital art, texture, stuff like that. What is really we can use to create for our own self to build our profile. So just for an example, just like with vectors have its own thing here. You can go to different categories, royalty free, and it gives you different designs that you can create for yourself to understand what you're making as a creator. So when you're building your profile, it's best to focus on what's on the site now, not what was on the site past, what's working now. This gives you a live feed on what you can create now. So what I love about this is that when you're looking at categories for stuff like this, except animals, landscapes, nature, even down to backgrounds. And this is what I love about this too as well. When you click on backgrounds, it gives you different versions of backgrounds that you can create. Cool backgrounds, red, green. And it's people that actually buy these regular plain backgrounds. And what I love about this, it gives you different categories you can actually work on. And also you can create an evergreen list that sells most for you. So let's say if you're selling things and you want to create things, you can definitely use this as a template to see what is selling, like space backgrounds. When you click on space backgrounds, it takes you to that category and it breaks down the volume for you. Now, let's say if I'm, creating with AI, which a lot of space backgrounds does. So let's say if we go to the filter and we identify what we want to narrow down to, let's say if we want to do illustration, vector, or all. So let's say if we want to do an illustration, right? We go to the illustration, it rocks up the illustrations. Now I'm going to show you the difference between what this does. So now we have clicked illustrations here. So let's go back to all. So I'm going to show you the different things. A lot of people that don't tell you about Adobe Stock and other people in different countries don't really explain to you. So this is the all feature. We got about 40 million, I believe, right here, about 40. So now if we narrow it down to illustrations here, we can actually see this actually drops down to 18. So now we're niching down. Now we got illustrations and we can see what we've created. So now we have created that, but I'm going to get more into depth with that in the future, actually learning how to niche down and actually search for certain things that you can create your own volume for, just to give you an example. So now you're seeing it's actually niching down, and the results for space backgrounds are broken down to see what's available. Even down, you can break this even down to AI creation, stuff like that, which I'm going to do in the next video too in the future. So as you see here, you can actually get your ideas exactly from Adobe Stock. And it's really not that hard, because I don't really see people explaining that, and they're going out on a whim seeing that you can make evergreen content, and everything is here for you to create on Adobe Stock. And it's so powerful that they give you the ideas. They tell you what's selling, even down to acoustic backgrounds. And look at this niche, 35. We narrow it down to illustrations and see what we can create on our own as far as our style. And we go to illustrations. Right now this is at 35. Let's see if it narrows down to a nice niche of a volume that we can work with. So if you wait here, it dropped down to 21. So now we got something we can actually create a little bit more with illustrations. So we can definitely start creating designs that's a little bit more creative, like these lashes, stuff like that. That gives you more free ability to know what to sell. Because a lot of volume people don't know the type of sales that you can come out with when you're first starting. So you basically getting your feet wet. So in order to start a profile that's more sellable and understanding how to sell on Adobe Stock and using this as your sole proprietor, is understanding that you have to know what is niching in live feeds. You know what I'm saying? So this is the best way that I've thought when I first started to get into Adobe Stock, is that you have to see what is on each category that's selling. And that's what I did. I went through each background and stuff like that. And I went to different categories of these too as well, which is a very good niche too. Is a lot of phone and technology, a lot of wallpaper design, landscapes, animals, and the medical field is very big too to sell things, and food. So as you see here, medical has 10. Then we got the food, which is very big. And you can see what I love about food is that it breaks down in different categories. You got the food truck, healthy foods. And I thought this was cool because I wanted to get into this, but you can take this idea if you want. I believe food trucks are a big thing because right now it's only at 2011. So if you can create some designs with this, and if you narrow it down to illustrations, if I believe, say if we nail it down to illustrations, I pressed the wrong one. Sorry about that. We get well, they got vectors. Vectors is only 76, which is crazy. So you can make vector designs that might sell. And we go to, let's go to illustrations. unclick vectors. So illustration is only 49,000, which I thought was very niche. And there's not a lot of food trucks, so you can actually come up with a good 1,000 of this. Right now is only at a couple of pages, only around over 100 pages, which is crazy. So you see that a basic search like this will actually create you sales just searching for food trucks. So you can get a food truck, make designs with different food trucks, and sell them on Adobe Stock because they don't have enough food trucks to sell in Illustrator. And if you can create that in AI, you'll be good. So just giving you a couple of niches on what you can create in here, and understanding that when you create different type of designs, it's not that, oh, you finding a niche, you finding it narrowed down, you think this will work, contributor. It will work. Everything works on Adobe Stock. And I feel as though a lot of people don't explain it like I'm doing, because all the stuff you need is on the website itself. So that gives you a bright idea, like, okay, so I'm understanding, like, you're right. So I'm understanding contributor, you're right. You seeing foods, even down, they break all the niches down for you. What I love about food, just like this, that have them in all the different categories that you see, it breaks down to healthy food, diets, Mexican food, seafood, Italian food. I remember I did over 5,000 images of Italian foods just to get the right ones. You know what I'm saying? So, and understanding that everything is creatable in your own way, just making sure it stays within the guidelines and not using company policy. And I'm going to tell you another thing too. Dog food is another big one that you can use because it's only 800. So if you narrow that down to illustrations, where you can do a free design, I believe here. So we narrow that down to 160. So it's not a lot of food for dog food that you see. So if you make different dog food images or vector images, you got you a winner. So as you see here, it's not about understanding different design elements and finding out what sells. It's what you can create in on Adobe Stock that sells for itself, because over time you're going to make a sale. It's not going to happen instantly, but as long as you keep building your profile up to up, I would think the range of making a good profile that sells is around having 10,000 images posted. If you can get 10,000 approved, that'll give you a good leeway of what's selling on Adobe Stock. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you understand what is selling, and also trying to see what fits you and what you can sell what you can sell along the way of using Adobe Stock. Because I'm telling you right now, it's a variety of niches you can jump into, just going to vectors and seeing what sells, even jumping into royalty free. And a lot of people sell things for free. You can probably take those ideas and create your own and sell them in the premium side of things and create your own things. So that comes into play of the creativity of selling on Adobe Stock. It's not trying to get the first amount of sales. It's playing a long game with Adobe Stock and understanding that you have to be patient on what you create, understanding different softwares that matches the quality that they're asking for. So pretty much just a basic synopsis on how to understand Adobe Stock, because I don't see a lot of channels explain this secret. Because when I found out, I said, why are we going out trying to use ChatGPT and everything else to create images, and everything we need is in these categories? And nobody on YouTube explained this. You can just go to the front page, photos or Illustrator, go down and go to any of these categories. Just like I said, go to nature. You thinking it's just one nature thing. It's you got nature background, sunset, flowers, sunrise, autumn. I never thought until I really looked through this site and start creating a list of stuff that sells and trying different niches to jump into. So this gives you an idea, and I hope this definitely helps you out, and I hope you enjoy. I am the hidden contributor. I'm giving you all the secret sauce no other YouTuber ever gave, and an English speaking one, because a lot of people don't speak English. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you guys the real dark side of people that don't tell you about Adobe Stock. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video.